European Union leaders have agreed to ban 90% of Russian oil imports by the end of this year. It's part of a sixth package of sanctions approved at a summit in Brussels. 2/3 of the Russian oil imported by the EU comes via tanker and 1/3 via the Druzhba pipeline. The agreed ban affects oil that arrives by sea but not by pipeline. Compromises have been reached to ease concerns from Hungary, along with Slovakia and the Czech Republic, so that those landlocked countries retain access to oil via pipeline.
I'm very glad that the leaders were able to agree in principle on the six sanctions package. This is very important. Thanks to this, Council should now be able to finalise a ban on almost 90% of all Russian oil imports by the end of the year. This is an important step forward.
The sanctions package also includes cutting off Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, from the SWIFT banking system, banning 3 more Russian state-owned broadcasters in the continent. And the European Council has also announced over $9 billion in grants to Ukraine for its post-war reconstruction. Our correspondent Rosie Burchard has sent this report from Brussels.
4 weeks of technical discussions and 8 hours of talks among EU leaders here at this summit in Brussels, including a virtual address from Ukrainian President Zelensky. But finally, there was white smoke and the political deal has been done. Now, this is a compromise deal. It will see oil imports which are delivered by ship, so seaborne oil imports from Russia, banned by the end of this year, but it will allow an exemption for pipeline deliveries, so oil which is delivered into the EU by pipeline can continue to flow. Now, that compromise is designed to cater to the concerns of landlocked countries, including Hungary, which had so far been holding up consensus on this issue. Now, Latvian Prime Minister Krišjānis Kariņš arrived at talks in Brussels this morning and said this plan to cut 2/3 of deliveries of Russian oil by the end of this year essentially boils down to cutting 2/3 of payments to Russia for oil purchases. So he says this is a big step forward. However, Ukraine says it's not enough, perhaps too little too late for Kyiv. Ukraine would like to see tougher sanctions still, not only an embargo on Russian oil or a partial embargo, as EU leaders have agreed to, but also an embargo on Russian gas. That's something on which there's simply no consensus among the 27 EU nations so far.
Well, Wojciech Jakubik joins me live now from Warsaw. He's an energy analyst at Business Alert, which is a Polish business news website which covers the energy sector. Wojciech, what do you make of this deal? With that compromise element in it for Hungary and some other countries, can it still have the impact that the European Commission would want on Russia's bottom line?
So it's not the maximum option we would Poland, for example, because Poland is in favor of total cut-off from Russian oil imports, but it is something. We have a compromise, otherwise we wouldn't have anything. So there is something on the table. We will have limited supplies from Russia, and we need to underline that Germany, Poland and Netherlands together are the same market as whole Middle Kingdom, so China. So it will be an impact. It will be gradual. It will not make Russia stop immediately, but it is another way of pressuring Russia, and it is not the end of Western sanctions.
And how will EU countries plug that gap? Where will they find alternative energy sources?
So we can see it already also in Poland, but in Germany too. We have the oil terminals all around Europe. Actually, even Hungary could use the Croatian oil port to diversify away from Russia, but it is not willing to. But those countries that are willing to do so, like Germany or Poland, are importing oil and oil products outside of Russia, from Saudi Arabia, from Northern Africa, from US, from all over the world, because we have this window of opportunity, the oil terminals that are making us less dependent on Russia. And energy crunch is distracting the needs for oil in Europe already. The prices are so heavy that we will limit ourselves. So the other result of this situation is that we will, on our own, we will decrease our consumption of oil because it is so expensive.
And just finally, on the time of year, obviously we're heading into the European summer, which makes it rather easier to withdraw back from some energy supplies. But how worried should we be about things like power cuts and energy shortages in the European winter?
So when it comes to the supply of hydrocarbons from Russia, they are limiting the supply since like summer 2021. The energy crunch is made also by Russian behavior, but the security of supply will be there, will be in place. But what about the prices? They are to go up and up until the situation is settled. So it will be expensive. It will make us transition away from fossil fuels quicker, but in the end it will work like the oil crisis from 70s of 20th century. It will make us less dependent and the prices will go down eventually, but it takes time.
Wojciech Jakubik, thank you.
Thank you.